Hi, I'm Sarah and I'm going to guide you through the first of this 4-part series, Beginning Your Yoga Practice. So this is perfect for anyone who has never done yoga before, or you're returning to yoga after a long time because maybe you just didn't feel it the first time. We're going to break everything down, and this class is going to talk about yoga in general and some seated warm-up poses. So just grab yourself and your mat and let's go. So this is the first of a 4-part series, and I would recommend that you do them in order, 1, 2, 3 and 4. This first one is going to start to talk a little bit about why we practice yoga, why it might be good for you, and then work through a gentle warm-up and some mat poses. What we're going to do is start to lay on the mat, and I'm going to talk you a little bit through the breathwork part of our yoga practice. So bring yourself to a comfortable spot. Yoga is made up of 8 limbs. And the 8 limbs of yoga, I won't go into too much detail. Only one of them is the physical movement. One of them is the breath, pranayama. And that is where we are going to start today. So if we do nothing else but lay and breathe, we are still very much practicing yoga. But I want you to bring yourself to a comfortable spot on your mat. And you are going to lay the arms down the side of the body and turn the palms to face the ceiling. And we'll start to take just a nice gentle breath in through the nose and a slow exhale through the mouth. Breathing in through the nose and exhaling through the mouth. I want you to keep going with that breath. And as you breathe and just settle into the rhythm, I want you to think about your reasons for why you might have come to this practice today. What's made you click onto this class to start your yoga journey? And I'm glad that you have. But what we do is we start to think about setting an intention. So whether you need to de-stress, whether you need some time out from hectic life, whether you are looking to increase mobility, work on your balance, build strength, let's tap into what you need. Because we can use our yoga practice to do all of these things. And the first thing we do is we breathe. So the inhale, let's imagine that filling the lungs. Imagine you've got a cup and you're filling it with water. We're refueling. And as we exhale, we release anything that we no longer need. So it's a bit like we're flushing the nervous system out, we're taking in the good energy, and we are letting go of any stress, any tension that we don't need, especially for the next 20 minutes or so. Okay, just take one more round of breath here. Bring your awareness to your shoulders and your jaw. Try to relax. I know that's quite difficult when we're being told to do so. And then what we're going to do is just gently wiggle the fingers and the toes. So we're going to bring a bit of movement into the body. You might circle the wrists. And then we will just start to bend the knees. Gently roll onto one side. Use your palms to help you out here, and you're going to bring yourself to a seated position on your mat. All right, so we are going to start with the legs crossed. This can sometimes be referred to as easy pose. Doesn't mean it's easy for everybody. So if the hips are quite tight, we might not be comfortable to sit like this, in which case you can find a spot where you are. You might even bring yourself to sit on a cushion. So we want you to be comfortable to begin with, and that is the most important thing. We're going to sit ourselves nice and tall. Give the shoulders a big roll out, so releasing tension. Trouble spots in the body for holding on to tension and stress: jaw, shoulders, and lower back. Hips as well. So our yoga practice aims to just flush any tension, any stress out of the body. All right, I want you to place one hand over your heart, one hand on your belly. Sit nice and tall, close your eyes. We're going to breathe in. And we're going to exhale. We're going to breathe in. And we're going to exhale. We're going to breathe in. And we're going to exhale. So the breath will become easier to work with the more you do this. If I'm telling you to breathe in and you are breathing out, please don't worry, just keep breathing. Try not to hold the breath. Perfect. We're going to blink open those eyes if you've closed them. Just gently release the arms to the side of your body. And then we'll take a nice seated side stretch. So your right hand is going to find the mat next to you. We're going to keep the sit bones grounded. We breathe in and sweep the left arm over the top. We're going to hold this stretch. So a nice big breath in. It's stretching out all the muscles around the ribs. And that's the part of the body that protects your heart and your lungs. And then we are going to switch sides. So popping the left hand down and reaching. If this is something that you're going to do a few times just to get into the habit of your yoga practice, get used to what the poses are, just take a little mental note of how your body is feeling now and maybe how it feels in a couple of weeks and in a month, how much more space you're going to have. Releasing the hand. Giving the shoulders a bit of a roll, and then we're going to bring the palms together in front of the heart. So this is called a mudra. And the mudras are when we place the fingers and the thumbs together in a particular way. This is a nice, easy one, Anjali mudra. It creates a feeling of peace and calm. And before we start to move, we're going to breathe in, set the intention. Maybe the intention is to practice yoga more often. Do something for you. And as we exhale, we're going to promise to let go of tension, stress, anything that doesn't serve us. Perfect. All right, shaking the hands off. I'm going to bring you into a tabletop position on your mat. So we are going to do everything quite slowly today, just so that I can show you where you need to be. One of the things to remember is that if we're newer to a yoga practice, our wrists and our knees might not be used to the weight being placed on them. So rest if you need to, but the best thing we can do is set ourselves up properly. So we press into the palms and we stack the joints. What does that mean? Your shoulders are over your wrists and your hips are over your knees. You want your knees to be about hip distance apart and make sure your toes are untucked so we're not holding any tension. If you need to put some padding under the knees, whether that's a cushion or a blanket, please feel free to do so. And then we'll start with a very nice basic cat-cow. So as we breathe in, we're going to lift the gaze. This creates this little doming of your lower back. And as we exhale, we're going to start to round the spine. So you're pulling your tailbone under, you're tucking your chin into your chest, and it's like you're pulling your belly button up towards you. And then we breathe in and very slowly take it the opposite way. And as we exhale, we round. So a vinyasa practice, which is a yoga flow, keep going, breathe in, lift the gaze. Vinyasa means connection of movement and breath. So this is why the whole way through, exhale, round, I am going to guide you with the breath as we move. And by connecting the two things together, it just gives everything a bit more purpose and it helps to create space in the body. Last one, rounding the spine. Breathing in to lift the gaze. Perfect. If you do nothing else in a day, cat-cow is the absolute one, and I would recommend doing this, especially if you suffer with your lower back. So we're going to press into our left palm, shoulder over wrist. We might have a bit of movement here, but as we breathe in, we're going to open up and lift this right arm. So you might have a limited range of movement to begin with. As you exhale, float the hand down so everything is nice and slow. We're not in a rush. Plant the right palm and breathe in and switch sides. So we open it up. Exhale, bring it down. We're going to do one more either side. Breathing in to open. What's happening here? We're taking our spine in a few different directions. Exhale to release, which is going to realign it. So a lot of us will be a bit out of sorts. Breathing in. Because we sit at a desk all day or we drive the car for long periods of time. Exhale, bring it back. This is trying to get some normality back into your spine. Just hold it here. Maybe have a little rock from left to right. Just to warm up the wrists. And then you might come back to center and just gently rock forwards and backwards. You don't need to move a lot here, especially if you are not used to putting weight through the wrists. Minimal movement, but we do need to warm them up. Okay. Bring it back to center. So we've already started to open up the hips in that seated cross-legged position. We're going to go a little bit further with this. So you're going to take your knees as wide as your mat. Your big toes are going to touch, and that creates a bit of a triangle-like shape with your legs. You're going to float your bum back, slide your arms forward, and rest your forehead. So this is a child's pose. It opens up the hips and lengthens out the spine. Stay where you are. What I'm going to do is just give you a few little verbal cues of how to modify this if you're not comfortable here, especially if you're newer. So if you find that you can't take your forehead to the mat, we don't have that space yet, and we will, right? Just take a little bit of time. You could perhaps use a cushion underneath you here to rest on, a yoga bolster if you've got one, or a block to rest your forehead on. Best thing that you can grab if you're at home and you're newer to a practice, we don't have all the equipment, is a cushion off the sofa or the bed, and just pop it in front of you so that you can rest your head. Start to take some gentle breaths here. With every exhale, what we want to do is encourage a bit of space. So we're going to add on, but only if you feel happy to do so. I want you to walk your hands just a little bit over to the right. Pop your left hand on top of your right hand and relax your head again. You can bring the cushion with you if you have one. We're starting to get a stretch through the left side of the body here. So take in a couple of gentle breaths. And then slowly come in through center and switching it the other way. Right hand on top of left, stretching out through the right side of the body. So I want you to make a little promise to yourself as we start this series, this little journey together, and that is to be kind. Some of the things are not going to come naturally to you at first. Some of the things we will enjoy, others will challenge us. But remember that you showed up. And that is the most important thing. The intention is to try. We don't have to be perfect. There won't be any balancing on our heads in this class, I promise. Walk your hands back towards you. Lovely. And then we are going to walk the hands through. Reset the knees and just bring yourself up. So give your shoulders a bit of a roll here. Open up across the chest. Maybe give yourself a big stretch. And then release. And we're going to start to add a bit of space through the legs now. So take the legs out from underneath you. Send them straight out in front. This can be quite challenging when we're newer to a yoga practice. We don't have space in the backs of our legs for a lot of us. So if you need to take a gentle bend in the knees, you can. What we're going to do is start with our posture. So sit yourself nice and tall, soften the shoulders, and maybe just gently walk the hands down towards the feet. You are going to stop when you feel like you can't go any further. Some of you will be super flexible. Great. Others, give yourself some time. What I want you to also focus on is the upper body. So what we see quite a lot is people reaching for their toes and then scrunching up their upper body. If you cannot get to your toes without creating tension here, you do not reach for the toes. We bring it back up. Maybe we find a nice little stretch at this point. Slowly walk your hands back towards you. Bending your right knee. Okay, we're going to start to stretch the glutes out a little bit here. So you can either keep your right foot on the inside of your left leg. In fact, let's stay at that point today. Sit tall, Left arm is going to wrap your right leg and you're going to gently reach your right arm behind you. So looking over that shoulder, taking 2 rounds of breath. So breathe in, sit tall. Exhale, add to the twist. Breathe in, sit tall. Exhale, slowly bring it back round. And then we will switch sides. Your right leg will come out, your left leg will come in. So when we first start our yoga practice, you can feel quite restricted of space. So if you need to just add a bit of space between the foot and the leg to allow you to twist, you can do that. All right. Right arm wraps this left leg, left arm floats behind. So as we breathe in, think about inhaling, filling the cup, all the good energy. We sit tall. As we exhale, we float into that twist. Breathing in and letting go. Slowly bringing yourself back to center. All right. Bending the knees and just finding a comfortable spot for a moment. When we take a warm up for a yoga practice, we are warming up all the parts of the body that we're going to use. And we use a lot of muscles when we practice yoga, which is what makes us strong. So it doesn't have to be super assertive, but we are going to be working a lot. So we need to be warmed up and ready. So we're going to add into the core here. This is a boat pose. It's called Navasana. We're going to start in a basic level of this. So your feet are going to be on the mat. Your knees are bent. And what you do is you just lean back a little bit. So your arms come out. Your gaze is forward. And what we are doing here is we are working the core, not overcompensating with the back. So it's that nice little tipping point. Relaxing the shoulders. This is as far as we're going to go. We're going to breathe in. We're going to exhale. We're going to breathe in. We're going to exhale. Breathing in. And exhaling. If you're revisiting this class for maybe the second or third time and you want to add on here, you can lift a foot as you breathe in, tap it back down as you exhale. Lift the opposite foot and tap down. And that's just going to start to build into this. All right, one more breath. Let it go. Arms release. Give them a bit of a shake off. And then we will finish by bringing ourselves back into this cross-legged seated position and taking a couple of little movements through the upper body here. So finding some length in the spine, we breathe in and lift our arm. We exhale and let go. So see how the speed that my arms move matches my breath. Breathe in and lift. Exhale and let go. One more. Big lift. Let go. Check back in with the posture. And then we add a seated twist. So there's a couple of options here for you, depending on the mobility that we've got in the spine. The hips want to stay facing forward. Option 1 will be palms together, little twist right, and then little twist left. Option 2 for a deeper twist here, left hand, right knee, right arm floats behind, take a breath. And then slowly switch. Bring it back to center. Bring your palms together into that mudra. This is your first step to the beginning of your yoga practice and we are fully warmed up. So I'll see you for class number 2.